So what's actually like working for you right now? I know you said a lot of referral, but do you do any like YouTube and social media? Are you big on social media?
So all the things, right? Especially as a realtor. I think realtors dominate social media. They're so creative, and I mean, you get so many different types of clients.
What is next for Anna Carter and the Carter Group? Like, do you have like a big vision that?
Yes, I do. I call myself a visionary just because I feel like, especially within real estate, I'm so.
How did you create the Carter Group?
Yes, so the Carter Real Estate Group came out of necessity. So I am a loving wife of my best friend of 6 years, Tim Carter. I'm a mother of two.
Welcome back to another episode of Simple Chat. I'm your host, the CEO and founder of Simple Lending Financial, Janine Casio. And today we have a very special guest with us, Anna. Anna, do you mind introducing yourself to the audience?
Hello everyone, I am Anna Carter. I want to say thank you so much for having me. I'm so impressed with the company and I am just in awe of what you've built. And my goal is to also be national brand, so it's great to be interviewing with you and thank you for having me.
Yes, I met you briefly at the Woman of the NFL event, and I'm a big energy person, and I'm like, I love this girl, and I'm so excited to have you on the podcast, and I'm so excited to like share your message with everyone. So my first question for you is, how did you create the Carter Group?
Yes, so the Carter Real Estate Group came out of necessity. So I am a loving wife of my best friend of 6 years, Tim Carter. I'm a mother of two, a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, so you know the party never stops. Boys, and also a real estate developer. So the Carter Real Estate Group kind of came because when I first got my license in Texas in 2019, I was doing a lot of production of just my own productions. I was purchasing, doing fix and flips, and selling my own properties, and became a top producer just by doing my own properties. Nice. So naturally, people in the brokerage were just kind of like, hey, you know, what are you doing? You're building your portfolio. What does that look like? Can you kind of teach us? And I kind of discovered that there was a gap in the industry, right? You have a lot of real estate professionals that don't necessarily own their own properties. They're helping their clients. They're doing amazing with that, but they're not building their own generational wealth. And so the Carter Real Estate Group is kind of taking those real estate professionals, putting them in an environment to say, hey, you know how to help your clients do this, but now it's time for you to kind of do it yourself, right? I have this fun thing that I tell my team that I would never hire a realtor that doesn't own property, right? Like, because then, you know, how are you going to lead from that experience to help me understand?
That's like getting any financial advice from someone that's broke. Like, you know, like you just wouldn't bark up that tree.
Exactly. So kind of the need and necessity, leading by example, the Carter Real Estate Group happened organically, honestly. It's been a blessing.
I love that. So would you say, do you have any, like, if there's Houston developers like watching this podcast, do you have any like market tips of like where you think is hot right now within the Houston market?
So I kind of have a mixed opinion, right? And so I kind of became very popular for fix and flips here in Houston. So a lot of the Heights area luxury, so anywhere 850 to 1.5 is kind of where our sweet spot was. But when it comes to portfolio building, you can have a very diverse portfolio. So I say that to say within the last 2 years, I've actually kind of been buying like small tiny homes, just because they've been able to have tenants within, you know, I'm able to find tenants within like 30 to 45 days, and it's cash flow positive, few $100s, you know, there's minimal overhead, especially if it's new construction, right? So Houston, because I'm from New York, so I am still getting used to how Houston is structured, but there are a lot of like suburb pockets where new construction is, and then, you know, they're within under 200,000. I'm able to kind of purchase those, get a tenant in there, cash flow positive, and that's what I've been doing more than fix and flips. And I kind of believe also that every market you can purchase something. Not necessarily what your goal might be, but you can always acquire something. There's a lot of real estate methods that are that way as well. So right now it's small, tiny homes for me. Cost of construction is relatively high. So if you want some new, you know, multifamily or something like that, you're going to kind of pay that price tag before you see that return on investment. So I think smaller properties, able to get a tenant, kind of hold right now while the interest rates are kind of steady. They'll maybe never be back in the 2s and 3s. But right now, I think that's the best thing for me is the buy and holds. Land is always really good as well. You can always leverage land. the fix and flip, being honest, within this season right now has been a little different. But, you know, depending on what rates are doing, what buyers are doing, you can always kind of figure out a strategy of what to purchase. I think always purchasing. I have a very diverse portfolio.
And that's why I think it's good for people to be diverse, right? Like maybe even a certain market is good for ground ups, but the town over isn't. Right. Because they're just not selling, or it's the market, and then being able to hold and fix and flip. So really, like, I think as a developer, like, well, any career is all about persevering and sticking with the plan, but being able to curve from fix and flip to hold to tiny homes. So it's awesome that you're adaptable and flexible like that. What is next for Anna Carter and the Carter Group? Like, do you have like a big vision that...
Yes, I do. I call myself a visionary just because I feel like, especially within real estate, I'm so passionate about real estate. I'm passionate about the building process, the selling process, what can we do with this property? You know, my husband is a huge designer, so he likes to design properties, and he has a really good niche for that. But I would say what's next is probably vertical integration. There's a lot of transactions, a lot of people in a transaction in real estate. There's the realtor, there's the lender, there's the title company, there's the appraiser, the inspector. I kind of want to own it all, right? I want to have it all in-house. Yeah, you know, so I can kind of bring in my clients or investors or agents and kind of just show them how I've done every single part of the process. So I would love to just kind of have a little piece in every part of a transaction.
Love it. So I feel like I'm getting a grasp, but you're kind of like a mentor for your clients, right? Yes. So what does that look like for your clients? Like, how do they get onboarded? Like, what's the whole process of... Do they just reach out to you, or how can they reach out to you?
Yes, so these days my business is kind of referral based, simply because I like to be a part of the portfolio management aspect. So I do have, the clients that I work with specifically just have me find they do the real estate aspect of their portfolio. But that's why I have the team, right? So the team has a seamless process of how we handle your assets, right? What are we going to do? Are we going to purchase? And then once we purchase, what are we going to do with that property? Or if we're going to sell, we have to then purchase, right? So I kind of teach them that once you have a client or any transaction, they should kind of be a lifelong returning client, right? Nice. So that's kind of what that looks like as far as what my clients go through. I mentor everyone, whether it's my agents or it's my clients, just because it's all about building the portfolio and the generational wealth aspect.
Very cool. I love that. So what's actually like working for you right now? I know you said a lot of referral, but do you do any like YouTube and social media? Are you big on social media?
So all the things, right? Especially as a realtor. I think realtors dominate social media. They're so creative, and I mean, you get so many different types of clients on social media, on YouTube specifically, as well as these type of interviews here, right? I'm able to kind of show and give a little bit more of a personal background to me as an investor and what matters to me. I think all the things, honestly. I do the cold calls, I do the door knocking, yes, I do the YouTube as well. I do the YouTube, right? My properties are on YouTube. Not necessarily me as a person, but I love the before and afters of our properties to kind of show our design.
Yeah, audience loves
they love the short little, it used to look like this and now it looks like that. A lot of my business here started as renovations in between fix and flips, right? So people were like, oh, I saw how you did this kitchen. I may not be able to do, a whole property right now, but let's do that. So a lot of that, very HGTV. I kind of like to let the fruit speak, so I like to show my properties more than I show myself. But I think all the things for sure, all of the different types of marketing, especially as a realtor.
Okay, so if you could talk to Anna from 10 years ago and leave her with a piece of advice, what would that be?
Anna 10 years ago was 19, and she actually bought her first property with a VA loan. So I'm an Air Force veteran as well, and I would tell her to build a team, to not do everything by herself. I think as a visionary, sometimes I don't realize that there are people that specialize in the parts of whatever I'm building that do that, and they're masters at it, and I don't have to go and figure it out myself. Especially if I'm the one that is supposed to be leading or supposed to be growing the business. I don't have to do every single little task because then it leads to burnout and less creativity. So I think building a team, is something I've learned recently. And once I built my team and just had people in place that can do the parts of the business that were a little harder for me, we scaled. You know, we did really well. So I would tell her, like, you know, collaborate, get some friends, kind of motivate people. Don't just stay focused on what you're doing, and kind of look at the bigger picture of the people that it will help, and get a team. Get a team, girl, get a team.
I think that is wonderful advice. I'm still trying to figure out how to do that, and I have a team. So even when you have the team, sometimes you want to get in the weeds and do the tasks, and then you have to like take the step back and trust the team.
Let them do their thing.
Well, it's been so great having you on this podcast. And I was just curious, like, do you have any mentors that you would want to give a shout out to that have helped you along your journey?
The first mentor I had was actually a life lesson beyond just helping me within real estate. He really taught me to bet on myself. He also categorized himself and really honored being a problem solver, which is what I think is my natural raw talent beneath anything in any industry. I'm a problem solver. And he gave me my first chance. I launched my first team with them. And he also taught me, and I kind of use that for my agents as well, right? I don't teach from a perspective of do exactly what I did. It's more about like, here are the tools, and then you do what calls you. You do what is best for your finances, because I do believe that as investors, or just people who want to build generational wealth, we know what we want that to look like. And so I think giving people the tools and empowering them is what I learned from my mentor. And it's what I kind of instill either not just into my agents, but to my children too. Just to always bet on yourself, and to be resourceful, and to execute. Just execute. Don't overthink it. Learn as you go if you need to. So shout out to him.
It's been so great having you. Thank you for doing this podcast. And how can people find you?
You can find me on social media at Mrs. Anna Carter, MRSANACARTER. That's usually the name on all of my socials. I kind of keep it simple for you.
Keep it simple.
Yes, keep it simple. Yes, exactly. And it's been, so what are the top 3 best qualities of the real estate partners that you work with?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So ideally they have credit in the 700s. Credit is actually important. And then having some experience. I think a lot of times people are in over their head. So I've had builders come to me that have done 1 ground up, and then they're looking to take on a 10 ground up project or a development project. And I think building that track record. So for instance, like doing 3 fix and flips, then getting a ground up, and then doing a 2 unit, and then maybe you're ready to do scale that way. Or, and if you're not there yet, bringing on someone that is a partner is very key. So finding that as well. And also, we like them to have some cash in the bank. So there's sometimes people are coming and they're just short on liquidity, and they think the financing is gonna save everything. And we don't want you running into a fix and flip, and you have to do the work and then get the reimbursements. That's how we work. So you have to have some cash up front.
Absolutely.
Don't get caught.
Right? So there's multiple titles that I have. So as a developer or as a realtor, I could do either or. So as a developer, I think people may not last or may quit because some of the real estate strategies that they're using require patience and they require discipline. And some people may not understand the return on investment, what that looks like over a period of time. So patience, I think, maybe as a developer, like you said, some people try to scale too quickly as well, or they, the numbers are perfect. I actually just had this example I was telling you about one of our recent projects. The numbers made perfect sense. But if the market does not support that, or we don't get that special buyer, then, we have to pivot, right? So I think the pivoting, the expectation, the time it takes for real estate to bring that return, if it's not a quick get in, get it out situation, I think people don't last. And then as a realtor, it's kind of the same thing, right? So the market, you can come in and you have a whole bunch of buyers, a whole bunch of inventory, and you're like, oh, I can just buy property. And then, things change and buyers are like, oh, I don't want to buy anymore. And how do you convince a buyer to purchase that is like, I don't want to, right? As opposed to looking for you because they want to purchase. So I think it's really just the tenacity, staying in the industry. Anything that you really want is not just going to always be smooth sailing. You have to want it enough to maneuver, enough to pivot, enough to be resourceful, and to figure out strategies. So I think strategy too.
I love that, yeah, and I'll just go off of it. You know, I'm a very spiritual person, so failure is just a state of mind, and I think people get caught up in that. It's just, it really is a state of mind. So just being able to be patient, wait out the downfalls, and know that this too shall pass. It's just a moment. It's not a reality unless you accept that as your reality. So you actually have to just keep going, because you're only failing if you give up or quit. So to just keep going at it, and one of my ways is always going back to my passions and my why, and like why I started this, why I wanted to build a brand, is to like really carry my voice and my mission statement, and being a woman in a male dominated industry. And I always just go back to that and find my power, and know that it's for a bigger mission, and maybe helping people along the way.